Hey everyone, today I'm going to share my secret to hanging complete skateboards up on a wall in a way that's super cheap. You can hang a bunch of these for just a few bucks. It's super easy, it only takes a few minutes, it doesn't require any super fancy tools. That's super clean looking, you can't see any of the mounting hardware from the front, and then most importantly, it's super secure. These things are not going to accidentally come off the wall. However, they are really easy to pull off, and then almost just as easy to mount back on the wall. This really is my favorite way to mount complete skateboards. If you've been searching for the best way to mount your skateboards on your wall, you've probably seen a lot of interesting ideas. Maybe you've come across these specialty kits from companies like Skateology, or maybe you've seen people use 3M command hooks with fishing line to mount them to the wall, or maybe you've even seen some people build some kind of elaborate wooden setups. All of those are great, however, they're not really going to work well for complete setups, and they can get pretty expensive. So the solution I have in place is about $3 or $4 for a spool of wire that will probably do you like 10 or 20 boards easily, and then a couple of bucks on some drywall mounting screws. And that's really it. It's pretty simple. So let me pull one of these off the wall and I'll show you how it works. In a nutshell, you're going to loosen your mounting hardware just a little bit, enough so that you can get a little bit of that wire underneath the bolt, and then you'll make a loop out of it. I'll show you how I did that in a minute, but then just make sure you kind of have it like pulled out and kind of wide, and then you're just going to take your board. You have your drywall screw. You're going to leave maybe 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch out. There's going to be a little bit of a lip from the screw head. And basically you're just going to want to line it up over a couple inches above, and you just slide it down and it will hook on there and catch. And then that's secure. That is not, I mean, maybe if you had an earthquake it might come off, but otherwise that is on there. And then like I said, really easy to pull off, and then easy to pop it right back on. So this is my Vision Gator skateboard. I got this on my 13th birthday. This was my very first pro quality skateboard. I had a lot of fun on this back in the day. So of course this would be one of the skateboards that I would want to hang on my wall. First thing we want to do to get this set up is you're going to dial back the nuts on the mounting hardware. You're going to just dial them back a few turns. Basically you want them, when you push on this on the underneath, you want there to be a little bit of a gap, maybe about 1/8 of an inch or so, and that's going to give you room to wrap your wire around. So next step we're going to do is cut some wire. And so basically you don't need a lot, but maybe kind of eyeball it, but maybe somewhere around maybe 10 inches or so, maybe a foot. Probably better to go a little bit long than short, unless you're really trying to make it last. But so I've got a strand there. So you're going to take your wire and you're going to want it to stop about halfway between the trucks. So just kind of hold it in place, push the bolt up from the bottom, but basically you're going to want to go from the outside and then loop it around one time like that, and then kind of make sure you keep it in that same spot about halfway. And loop it around like that. I just wanted to make sure I have this loop here be about halfway up, because that's how I have it measured on the wall. But yeah, you wrap that around, and then you can take the excess here and just twist that up several times. And you can just leave the excess on if you want. That way, if you decide you need to loosen it out a little bit, you can. Otherwise, you can snip that off. But for my case, I'm going to leave it on. So yeah, that's it. It really just takes a couple of minutes to get that attached. And then let's get it on the wall. So here we are. We've got our picture frame wire attached to the mounting hardware. We have our drywall screw sticking out maybe between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. We're going to make sure that this wire is in a U shape. And then I'm basically going to take the board and kind of center it over where that screw is, go up a couple of inches, and then I'm just going to let it slide down, and it'll hook right on there. And then just take a couple of seconds to make sure that it's vertically straight, and then that's it. It really couldn't be any easier. Before we move on, I did want to take a moment and let's hear from this week's sponsor.
There's just one place to go for all your spatula needs.
Spatula City!
A giant warehouse of spatulas for every occasion.
Just kidding, we don't have any sponsors around here. But yeah, now you know my secret to hanging these skateboards up on the wall. It's using picture frame wire. Like I said, a couple bucks for a spool of this, and it'll get you a whole bunch of boards mounted. It's really easy to get them up, and then most importantly, they're secure. They're not going to fall off or go anywhere over time. I really love this wall. I love how these boards look on it. This is my home office where I work during the week, and it really gives me those nostalgic vibes when I come in the morning, and kind of helps me get off on the right foot. And so yeah, I'm curious, did you have any old school skateboards from when you were a kid that you still have today, and do you have them mounted? And if you do, how do you have them mounted? Did you have a different technique than I have here? If so, I'd love to hear about it. If you've got any better ideas, I'd love to hear about that in the comments as well. And if you didn't, maybe you had a skateboard that you wish you had kept. I'm curious to know what that one would be too. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like or leaving a comment down below. I've really enjoyed interacting with you guys over the last couple of weeks. I've had some interesting conversations and made a couple of new friends. So thank you for that. And thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.